Hello, welcome. You guys know what day it is. It's a Monday here in Okinawa, which means we are going to be doing the segment called Things You Don't Want to Know, but I'll tell you anyways. Or I'm going to tell you anyways, one of those. Sorry, I'm kind of like slurring my words. I literally got up 30 minutes ago. It's 1 p.m. here. And yeah. As you can see, I'm wearing this super nice long coat in this really hot room. I'm actually sweating underneath this, but I thought it would be easier to just cover myself than wear a bra. So that's why I'm wearing this. I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 questions that I'm going to be answering. All of them are fairly short. 3 of them are from I Love Slapstick because he has a lot of questions to ask, especially I think because he's never been to Okinawa, he's never been to Japan, so there's a lot more like I think curiosity. But he has some pretty good questions, so I'm going to be answering that today. But aside from Slapstick, I have I think like 4 other questions that I'm going to be answering. So let's get into it. I'm also going to be talking a little bit about a video that I posted a week and 1 day ago, actually, about like a fan that liked me or something like that. I posted a video about that. After reading some of the comments that I received, there's some 2 cents that I want to put into it. So I'll be talking about that a little later. But we're going to go ahead and first off, start answering some questions. Cheers. Don't worry, this is just water. I don't know why I thought you were worried. So the first question I'm going to be answering is from Gina. She asked, were you eating Nutella and ice cream while sipping on Sour High? Yes, I was, Gina. It was a typhoon. Don't judge me. So I think vanilla ice cream is one of the plainest ice creams. I'm not a huge, it's fine. It's not one of those ice creams where I'm gonna like go out of my way and knock down a few children in order to get my hands on vanilla ice cream. But it was the only ice cream we had, and we had a jar of Nutella, and I was like, okay, to make this more palatable, I'll just slather it in Nutella. And at the time I was drinking a chuhai. It was like a lemon sour chuhai from Suntory. Never had it before. Like I said in that video, I don't drink very often. Actually pretty good. I think I prefer the Orion beer has a new chuhai brand, which is like the Wata brand, and they have like passion fruit and shikwasa, and to me those taste better. Of course they have less alcohol in it, so it's practically juice, so that's probably why. But yeah, I was drinking Sour High while eating Nutella and ice cream. And I don't regret it one bit. Actually, I do. My stomach was hurting afterwards. All right, next question. All right, so I love Slapstick. Jeremy, he is asking, so why won't you show us where you work? Simply for privacy reasons. This is another one from I Love Slapstick. How often do you get typhoons in Okinawa? I picked this question specifically because I actually had a couple other people from my stateside friends who asked the same thing. So typhoons are just randomly generated, right? Like depending on the heat and the air and like the pressures and all the scientific mumbo jumbo that I don't really remember right now. So there was 10 typhoons total so far this year that have developed, and 2 of them hit Okinawa. Not every single one of the typhoons that develop hit Okinawa or certain other regions in certain other regions. It's just like a matter of chance at this point. Depending on like where it wants to travel and just how it develops. Because last year my mom and my aunt were saying that there was typhoons one right after another. They were saying that the month of August to almost September they felt like they were having typhoons every weekend. And there have been years in Okinawa where I've lived here where we didn't get one single typhoon. Like they had typhoons going on, but we didn't get them personally. So it just really depends on year to year. So another question I have here is from I Love Slapstick. Excuse me. And he said, aren't typhoons basically hurricanes only in the Pacific instead of the Atlantic? And the other reason I picked this question is because that was another question I got asked a lot. Yes, that is true. Hurricanes and typhoons are the same exact thing. It's a tropical storm, a tropical cyclone. It just depends. The words, what it's called basically just depends on what side of the earth you're on. Hurricanes obviously happen in the North American region, and the word hurricane comes from the Taino Indians that basically mean god of evil, I believe, or god of storm or something like that. The Japanese word typhoon, or typhoon as it's called in English, is originally from a Cantonese word called typhoon. They were both the same thing, exactly the same tropical cyclone, but because of like where it's from, it's just called different things. Matt was like, man, hurricane is a better name than typhoon, and I was like, nah, typhoon is better. Hurricane just sounds like an old guy saying, hurry up or I'll beat you with my cane. The next question is, Kit, was that sake that you poured in the bowl? Yes, it is. It was sake that I poured in the bowl. So what Jerry is talking about is in the video where I kind of showed you guys the Obon tradition the last day, there was a little ceremony that I did with my grandpa, and we had like this flaming pot of thing in the middle with like flames coming out of it where we burned money to give to the spirit world. And at the end I poured cups of liquid into it, and one of them is water, one of them is sake, and then the two I also poured in 2 cups of tea. I don't know why they're that specific. I mean, obviously they have to put the fire out and make sure that the fire is out, so I know that that's why they put the liquid in there, but I'm sure there's a reason why we put all 3 of those liquids in there specifically. I'm sure there's like a tie to it historically or culturally or religiously, but I'm not quite sure what that is. But one of the glasses of liquid that I poured in was sake. Kat Tallman, the chopsticks castles are phenomenal. Is that your grandpa's hobby or is it a family tradition to have for Obon? So in that same video, I kind of showed this footage of my grandpa's chopstick castles. That's like, I know those look impressive, but he built one. I don't know if you guys know, but there's a place called Ryukyu Village here on Okinawa. It's a theme park. I've actually been to it for the vlog. I think I have it somewhere. If I can, I'll pull it up. But he used to work at Ryukyu Village, and he actually made an entire diagram of Ryukyu Village, like the entire village from chopsticks. It was really, really impressive. Unfortunately, we ended up having to throw it away because it just got really just destroyed from just, you know, sitting out there. So we don't have it anymore, but that thing was massive and it was really, really cool. Unfortunately, he doesn't have like the finger dexterity to do that anymore, but he used to do it a lot. This is another question from Kat, and she said, multiple occasions you say your mom's pharmacy, does she own it or is she the manager? My mom owns it. My mom's owned her own pharmacy for the last 31 or 2 years. So yeah, that's her thing. She owns her own pharmacy. So we've answered the questions, and before I end this video, I want to go ahead and address a little bit about the video that I made a week and a day ago about this guy, the guy that, you know, was like, hey, I like her, blah blah blah, because there was like a common element to that video that I was seeing that I felt like that needed to kind of be addressed. And the number one thing is people were telling me that I needed to talk to Matt about it. And I just want to let you guys know that Matt and I talk about like everything. I talk to Matt before I tell anybody anything. Like Matt's the first person I go to. Him and I have like this probably more open communication than I know of any of my couple friends who have that much open communication. Like we talk about everything. Like we talk about literally the most uncomfortable things. And the reason we do that is because we think communication is key. Communication is what fixes everything. Like we don't hide anything from each other. So that was like a very common thing that people were saying, and I just wanted to let you guys know that Matt and I did talk about it. Matt obviously wasn't that concerned about it because, and I wasn't either, in the sense that I didn't think my life was at danger or my life was in danger. I just thought it was just kind of one of those moments where I was like, wow, I never thought that would happen to me, in a sense that like I never thought I would get one of those people that are like, oh my god, I love you, blah blah blah. And so that's why it took me back. I wasn't necessarily feeling my life was in danger by any means. I was like, oh, so this might start happening to me. And it was just one of those like epiphany moments, because I just never, like I said, never thought that would ever happen to me. And even in the video I talked about it. I was like, you know, I see myself as a girl with a camera, nobody with a camera, and I never thought that I would ever attract something like that. So that was basically it. And obviously, like, Matt wasn't concerned about it because there was no like real threats and nothing really came out of it. Like that, neither me or my friends have even heard from that guy since then. Matt tends to also be very stoic about those things. He's not a very jealous guy, which is great because I am one of those girls who have mainly male friends. And I've been this way ever since I was a little kid. Like literally when I was in high school, I had a group of like basically like the Three Musketeers. And it was my friend Blair and my friend Chris, and it was us, and we hung around all the time, like almost every single day we were together. And that's always been kind of my life. I didn't have a lot of female friends growing up, and even now I can count on one hand how many female friends I have to multiple male friends. And I think because of that, early on in the relationship, I knew that having that open communication is extraordinarily important. I'm very lucky that Matt is not the jealous type, and that I can go off and hang out with my guy friends just doing friend stuff, like being completely platonic, without Matt constantly texting me and breathing down my neck and being like, where are you? What are you doing? Like he doesn't do that. He just lets me go off and hang out with my friends alone and completely trusts me, which is great, which is really nice because we just have that open communication. It's like a lot of things that a lot of people don't understand. You know, Matt would go out and hang out with friends, like our good friend Morgan. Like Matt would go out and hang out with her by himself in her apartment, and one of our best friends, like she's practically a sister to us, and like sometimes I'll go off and hang out with Tyler, which is her brother, by myself. And it's just one of those things where, because Matt and I have that really strong communication and we talk about everything, neither of us feel the need to be jealous or to worry about the other person when we're hanging out with the opposite sex. So that's something that I think I appreciate, and I just wanted to let you guys know that, because that seemed to be the number one thing everyone was concerned about, was that I was talking to my vlog before I was talking to Matt, which isn't the case. Matt and I talk about everything, like everything under the sun, to almost probably an uncomfortable degree. Like we talk about everything. Like we will, if we see an attractive person walking by, we'll like talk about that, and like we talk about everything. But I think that's one of the reasons why our relationship works, because, you know, like in the 10 years that we've been together, you know, there's that natural instincts in people to find other people attractive. I mean, just because you're with somebody doesn't mean that attraction to other people goes away. And there have been moments where both of us have been put into situations where we're like, oh yeah, you know, we're kind of like attracted to this person, and then so we'll talk about it and try to figure out, okay, is there something wrong with the relationship that is, you know, making us like naturally seek out the attention of somebody else, and then we'll like talk about it and see where we can fix something in our relationship, or is this just a natural feeling of just attraction towards somebody. And so we're constantly deep diving into our relationship with it, which is one of the reasons I really appreciate Matt, because he's so open to just communicating and talking, and I think that has been a saving grace in our relationship. It's one of the reasons we don't argue that much. It's one of the reasons we don't fight that much, because before it gets to a point where it's like a full-blown, you know, fight attack, we will talk about it and we will dissect it. And even if we need a moment to step back and just kind of think about what we need, we give each other that space. But at the end of the day, we always talk about it. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out, because everybody, like, it almost seemed like every comment, people were like, you need to talk to Matt, you need to talk to Matt. Trust, we did talk about it before I even mentioned it in the vlog. But I just wanted to let you guys know. Okay, so that's it. That was today's things you don't want to know, but I'm going to tell you anyways. I also wanted to go ahead and do a shout out to my Patreons over here. I actually just got another one. John, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. That was a real surprise. Thank you. I really appreciate it. But thank you to all my Patreon supporters. I think I've said this in like 3 or 4 segments before of the things you don't want to know, but I'll tell you anyways, is I don't necessarily like mentioning my Patreon, but I do want a place where I can thank those who have decided to be Patreon members. So I wanted to use the end of these segments to thank my Patreon members. All right, I'm gonna go. Love you guys. See you in the next episode. Peace. Bye.